Hi guys, thank you for visiting us here at Shift Happens. And as you know, and maybe if you watched our last video, you know that we're going to be talking about certain topics that pertain to awakening, a spiritual awakening, what else? What other topics do we cover?
Yeah, just things that happen in everyday life that leave you leave you a little bit confused when it comes together with spirituality.
Right. Yeah. And
So.
exactly like what it is. Shift happens. Shift happens because we are in the middle of a shift. Everybody's growing spiritually. Everybody's changing. Everybody's getting curious. Some people are rejecting the signs that they're getting. You know, that the universe is sending them to awaken. And it just keeps nagging at them, and they need to realize that these are signs. So we're just gonna talk a little bit about different topics and share with you our experiences, and also we hope that you guys share your experiences with us because we're dying to know.
Yeah.
Both Tina and me have different experiences as well that we always bounce off of each other. But we'd love to share them with you, and we'd love to hear yours as well.
Yeah, so these are going to be some topics that we discuss ourselves in the car, at our actual kitchen tables, or stuff that just comes up and we wonder about. So we want to share with you guys and hear from you guys. So the way that this is going to work is we put some topics in this singing bowl here.
Taboo topics.
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I don't hear a lot of talk on these topics, which is why we decided to.
Right. So, and not that we're experts on any of these topics by any stretch of the imagination. We're just giving our own opinion and talking like we would.
And mostly, I don't know. I want to see what people have to say about it because I love, I want to see what the comments are going to be,
right?
What their experience is, and what they can suggest for us to also grow spiritually. Because I mean, spiritual journey never ends. You're always learning and you're always experiencing new things.
Yeah.
So, like Tina said, you were explaining the bowl.
So this bowl is full of little topics that we chose, and Gabby here is going to pick one, and then we don't know. We know generally what's in there, but we don't know what we're going to be speaking about right now. So let's see.
Let's bang this little thing.
Just pick the subject.
Let's see. What will today's topic be? It's not something really racy.
I hope it is.
It's your handwriting, so if I can't read it. Oh, religion and spirituality.
Okay.
That's talk about taboo, right? Why did I have to say that? Did I manifest that?
That's a huge subject.
It is. You want to start?
So I heard, I was watching a video somewhere, and somebody said that it's kind of how spirituality usually works. Like you have some sort of religious foundation, and when you're a part of the religion and you're going on, but at some point your spiritual growth sometimes outgrows your religion in its teachings, and I guess your mind, when you start questioning, you start wondering, and it may be appropriate or not appropriate to question what your religion is teaching, and how that has guided a lot of people into their spirituality. I think that personally, I believe in God. God is going to be, at the center of everything for me. But then there's my spirituality as it expands from God, as it grows from that, as it just organically comes from there. But that's the center of it for me.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, I think I'm not going to pinpoint any specific religion, because I think at the end of the day they're all like, everybody wants to stick to whatever they believe with. But like you said, I think that religion is very important, especially growing up. no matter what religion you are, because that is your foundation. That is what, you know, and most religions come from a good, loving place and good intentions and, you know, all that stuff. So it's always a good foundation, but like you said, I think at some point your spirituality outgrows, you know, the textbook religion that you have when you go to a synagogue or to church or to, you know, whatever it may be, temple, whatever. You know, I think that at some point your spirituality outgrows that, because you come to a point where you actually start questioning, you know, the things that you've been taught. Right. And you know that they're real and you know that they're right because, you know, so many people, you know, went to service with you, so you know that they're right. But then you reach a point where, like, you say, okay, so if this was right, you know, that I was taught, it can't be a lie. So you kind of try to, like, you know, connect the dots between that and your spirituality, which is you growing inside spiritually, knowing that there has to be more. And I think that's kind of like when you make that shift into, like, from being in a religion and being religious to actually being more spiritual. I'll always have my religion because I know how I grew up, but again, that right now I just use as a foundation. Other than that, my spirituality is a little bit different. A lot of people confuse it. A lot of people, you know, tell me, oh, I can't do that. I can't meditate, or I can't do this because, you know, it's not part of my religion, or my religion forbids it. But, you know, I think that there comes a certain point when every individual, whether they fight it or you know, go along with it or not do it at all because it's against it, everybody at some point questions, like, what is life? Like, what am I here for? You know, am I here to listen to the same thing, you know, for the rest of my life, for the next 80 years or 100 years that I'm going to be on this earth? Right. Am I here just to listen to the same thing over and over and over and over, to go, you know, to go to service and listen to the same thing over and over? Right. You know, at some point you have to take that knowledge, you know, rather than repeat itself for the next 80 or 100 years of your life, you have to take that knowledge and do something with it. Right. And I think that's when spirituality comes in. Yeah. Because that's kind of like, what do you call it? That sets the path, the pavement for your spiritual growth. Right. Because whenever you have a question about your spiritual growth, you could always, like, reference it back. Well, you know, I remember learning this when I was a child, you know, about the universe or about God or what it may be. So I think that's when it kind of ties together.
Yeah, because sometimes it is just about going back to basics.
Exactly.
Per se. And it's funny because you mentioned meditation, and like a couple of things that I've thought about is I realize that prayer is meditation.
Yeah, definitely.
It really is. So, you know, if you're, no matter what your religion is, if you're praying, you're in a meditative state.
Exactly.
You can attach that to a religion or just attach it to your spirituality.
God forbid, because if you call it prayer, then everybody automatically thinks religion. Right. You know, so, and it's kind of not fair, because why has religion, something that is so dear to a lot of us, become so taboo? And how is, like, spirituality and metaphysics, I don't want to say forcing people, but a lot of people go into it with a misunderstanding that they have to reject and hate religion. Right. When that's not true at all.
That you have to choose between the two.
Right, and you don't, because I know I did.
Right.
You know what I mean? My spirituality right now is what leads in my life. I try my best to live from the heart and from the little piece of the universe or God that I have within me. And I think that's, you know, that makes me more spiritual rather than religious. Right. But I do, like I said, I do always refer back to the fundamentals, you know, to what I have learned.
Well, there are always those instances where people who are very religious start finding negative aspects of their religion.
Right.
Or of their church in specific.
Well, because we reach a point in time where you can't, like, there are certain religions that are ridiculous, and they come up with these ridiculous things, and it's like, it's inevitable for us human beings evolving, and we're intelligent, not to go back and question certain things. Right. And then the worst thing is that I've noticed about many religions is, like, just because that's what they tell you,
Yeah.
or just because that's how it is, or that's what God said.
Right.
But you know what? For me, this is why I don't like saying that I'm religious or anything. For me, that's not enough. I need to know the why, when, and where. And if you can't give me that answer, then guess what? I'm not gonna.
And even knowing the why, when, and where, you should be, you should feel comfortable enough to choose to be okay with that or in alignment with it, or not, or say, you know what, that belief, it just doesn't resonate with me.
Exactly.
I kind of believe that it has to be a different way. I don't know yet, I'll figure it out, but that's not resonating with me, that particular thing, not a religion as a whole, but those specific things within your religion, and it's okay to do that as well.
Right, it's either, but I find that a lot of people are either 100% they feel they have to believe everything in their religion 100%, or they completely reject it. And that's not the way it should be either, because I mean, I love my religion. There are a lot of things in my religion that I'm like, are these people out of their mind?
Like,
I'm
no.
not, yeah, like, no. I'm not going to remain a virgin until I get married. You know, that's not going to happen. Right. You know? So those kinds of that's just an example. There's a lot of, things that, I'm sorry, that are, I don't want to say ridiculous, but just like completely not
right to you.
Not right to me.
Right.
And to me, that's why I don't like. But it's okay. I still consider myself, what I am, and I feel it's okay that I don't have to abide or follow every single rule of my religion. And
so if somebody asks you, are you religious? Okay, you're into all these crystals and all this mumbo jumbo, but are you religious? Do you believe in God?
Of course.
Do you believe in God? Of course, I know you believe in God. Of course. But are you religious?
It depends. I mean, that's like so up in depends what people call religious. Actually, some people do think I'm religious. Yes, exactly. To some people, I am religious.
Take a sip of tea right now.
To some people, I am religious. To me, I'm not, because I know that in my religion, I'm lacking so much. I'm not participating as much as I should or whatever, and I'm not, because I'm just at a point in my life where I've.
But again, you pick and choose what works for you, and that doesn't
exactly.
I just, to me personally, okay, so where I'm coming from is I don't consider myself religious.
Right.
I've always, since I can remember, been connected with God. I've always had conversations with God. That's, like, how people do their self-talk, they talk to themselves or whatever. Right. I'm talking to God. Right. I'm driving and sitting in traffic and I'm having a conversation with God. That's my connection, my relationship with God. I've never felt that I needed to be a part of a religion to have that connection. Mm-hmm. To me, that's what's most important. And I understand they said, congregate in groups and so on and so forth, and that gives things more power. I've never gravitated towards that. It wasn't a curiosity for me. And so that's where that to me is what's most important. You have to have your own connection to your God and your own connection to your spirituality,
right?
And I think that if you're in touch with what you feel and what you know is right, that'll be a guide.
Right.
That will be a guide. You just have to really take the time to sit and think: does this feel right? Is this right? Why? Why not? And go with it.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't want to or don't know how to do that, and they're just like, okay, I'll just go do what they're doing, or I'll just go sit here for an hour a week, right, and call it a day,
right? Because
that's easier. Right. But no, sit and think and see what resonates with you, what speaks to you, and what makes sense in your life.
Right.
It takes being honest with yourself to a degree, right, and I think a lot of people are still learning to do that. Hopefully they're still learning. Hopefully they're open to doing it.
Yeah, my big thing is that I just get a lot of people that are all or nothing. It is okay to practice your religion and and still consider yourself spiritual and be going through a spiritual path and have that background. It's a good thing, as a matter of fact. I think it's great. I think everybody should have some kind of religious education and foundation. It is a good guideline for spiritual growth.
I love, and I think it's a great thing for people that explore other religions. not necessarily to be a part of it, but to understand, so that when you meet somebody from another religion, you're understanding what their take is. Because I think we agree, it's all the same God.
Of course, yeah.
You know, so like, what is helping you learn or be connected to this God?
Right.
And what is helping me? It's
Right.
kind of like different teaching methods, right?
Right, exactly.
Some people are visual learners, and some people listen better, and they learn better through listening. So what aspect is bringing you, what's helping you connect to God?
Right.
This is my way.
Right.
What's your way? Oh, okay, cool, because we're all getting to the same spot.
Exactly.
We're all meeting in the
Exactly.
same place.
Exactly.
So it doesn't.
Right. So yeah. So why why argue or why dispute? Oh, you know, well, I'm coming from here or I'm coming from there. We're all going to the same place. We're all getting to the same place. I think it's all one God. I mean, other religions might be up there saying, oh no, my God is not your God. But you know what? At the end of the day, it is.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
To me, he's the maker of the universe, the maker of me, the maker of you, the maker of every human being, no matter what color, size, anything, you know, you are.
Yeah.
That's how it is
And
to
at
me.
the end of the day, it's funny because we come across people of many religions
Yes.
at or ceilings at our shop, and you know what? There's no denying God.
Exactly.
You know, and it is, and there we go. We all meet in the same place.
Exactly.
God created this. God created this. God created this. God created, you know, everything else probably you're coming into the shop for. So it's all same
Yeah, and like
thing.
you said,
It
yeah,
doesn't
it's
matter.
undeniable because, like you said, we get a lot of people from different religions, but yet they all wind up here because they all have that question. There has to be more,
Right.
you know, or I don't know what to do anymore.
Right. So do you think that religions will start opening up to the metaphysical world as more people, like how are they going to continue to attract?
I think definitely, I think a lot of them have already.
Yeah.
Like I'm not up on my religion, you know, but a lot of them are incorporating a lot of you know, things like meditation and not talking so much about, oh, you know, shame on you if you don't do this is bad thing. I think they're taking more of a positive perspective, like, you know, talking more positive, which is a really good start because a lot of religions work by fear.
Yeah.
Like they'll put fear in you in order for you to, you know, follow the religion and you know, abide by their rules. So I think that's one thing that always turned me off.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of religions now are catching on and saying, hey, you know, if we take this from a positive perspective, and you know, people are going to be more, I don't know, more attuned with us.
I feel that the newer churches are probably looking more into how important self-care and mental health are.
Right.
And I think that they are being more open to saying, you know, this is a tool.
Right.
You know, it's a tool. You're not gonna. It can help, and I think that's that's probably where we're gonna be meeting for a while with the newer churches. Like, yes, this is a tool. What we're teaching and all, and that's fine.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it is.
Yeah,
It is a tool.
exactly.
It's not going to cure you. It's not
Right.
going to, you know.
Right.
It's a tool, and you should learn how to address, how to take care of yourself, your self-care.
Of course.
Be that from your religion, from your spirituality, or from tools.
Right.
So I think that the newer churches are more open to that.
Right.
If I remember correctly, in seeing different advertisements and stuff like that, and that's good. I'm happy to
See that
see
progress.
that. Yeah, that but that's again with the newer, and then we get people, we do hear. You know, I don't know if this is okay with my, don't tell, my mother, my sister, my brother can't know that I'm in here because, you know,
Right.
We're so religious and
Right.
so on and so forth.
Yeah,
And
we get
it's
that
like,
a lot too.
okay, we'll
Yeah.
keep your little secret.
You know what? I know how they feel because I used to be much more religious than I am now. And at some point when I started getting into metaphysics, you know, in general, for me it was collecting crystals. A lot of people, and even I questioned myself, I'm like, well, you know, how can I believe in the vibrations and the power of a crystal and stuff like that, and and although I wasn't, against it, I did question it, but then I looked at it simply. I said, I love collecting crystals. I love to work with them. This is my hobby. Just like, somebody who's very religious, why can't they have a hobby like collecting stamps?
Right.
And why can't my hobby be collecting crystals?
Right.
You know what I mean? So if something that's bothering somebody, I think that they could just look at it that way.
Yeah.
And it is. At the end of the day, it is.
Right.
Collecting crystals, Reiki, yoga, meditation, that's something that will start as a hobby, and then you'll just love it so much that it'll become a part of your wellness routine.
Right, you'll understand that it's a self-care.
And it hasn't, to me anyway, I guess some people do want to put it on a scale with religion, but to me it has almost nothing to do with my religion. As a matter of fact, to me it has nothing to do with my religion,
Yeah.
So,
but people like to equate that, which is, I guess, the point of the topic of conversation is, oh, are you religious? How religious are you? And if you're religious, how can you be, selling herbs to burn?
Right. Yeah.
How have you been to a church where they're burning resin and and frankincense and that sort of thing? So. So that's where that's what was important for us to.
And with crystals too, that people are like, oh, you believe in the energy of crystals? I don't know about that. I'm religious, and I'm like, how many? What do you call them? Hierarchies or whatever? Where emerald rings and
they decorated their shields.
Yes.
With these stones because they believed in the protection and they believed in all the
elements.
elements.
Even today, a lot of them wear amethyst on their crown, or a ruby ring, or an emerald ring, or if they carry a shaft or a cane, they usually decorate it like that. So those are crystals. Hello. So and they're not. These are people that we're talking that are in high positions in religions, and they're not being told, oh, well, if you're so religious, why are you carrying crystals?
Right.
So, obviously to them, it is also something that they just like, that's on the side, and has nothing to do with their religion.
Mm-hmm.
So, if anybody out there, I think, my final message is, if anybody out there, is a little bit confused or feeling guilty that they're exploring their spirituality in another route other than their religion, don't feel guilty, because you can look at it as it's different. And believe me, at the end, they're gonna merge. You're gonna get a little bit of the information that you learned from your religion, which is awesome, because everybody should. And at the end, you're gonna see how as you grow spiritually, it merges.
It merges.
Yeah, and all the information that you did learn, and then you're gonna be like, wow, that this is what this was, and this is why I learned this, and now I have the answer to this. The answer is here,
Mm-hmm.
and the question that I had here, the answer is here. But that's when once you start growing,
it makes sense.
Right.
You're able to connect the dots.
Right. Exactly.
And make sense out of it for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how I see it, and that's how I, lead my life. That's how I live, and I'm happy. And I just, hope that everybody can, grow spiritually and not feel guilty, and be free to do so, and explore and learn and watch channels like this one.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be one or the other. They can coexist.
Mm-hmm.
They can.
I think so.
So that's my final message. You don't have to choose.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. Like us, and what do they do with these kinds of videos? Like us,
they
and
subscribe, they like, and they all that.
Please don't forget to comment. We want to know your perspective on this. Mm-hmm. Be nice, because I know this is a hard topic. Remember, there's two sides to everything. There's always a balance, and please keep your comments balanced. Mm-hmm. And like I said, be nice. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Namaste.